All right, I'm going to tell you guys a story. For anybody who knows me or has been following me for a while, you'll know that I'm ex-army. There was a guy that I worked with. Nice guy, maybe not the best at his job. Had a nickname, had a reputation that followed him. He had some dangerous liaisons with what turned out to be a family member. And for anybody that's been in an environment like that, you know that reputations follow you. Mistakes follow you. Hell, I had enough of my mistakes follow me. And so when I saw this tower list, when I saw what it was designed to do and what it was designed to bully, the function that it served within a team's environment, I knew that there couldn't be any other name. It had to be named after him. And so without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Sister Fister. Okay. Alright, so... Alright, welcome everybody. My name is Jay, the rank 2 Tau player in the South Pacific and top 50 in the world. Here to unveil to you a list that I took to the New South Wales Teams Championship, where our team took 5th. We were hoping to do better than that. We had some very, very high-profile 40k individuals on our team. Unfortunately, we paired into round 1 the guys who took the whole thing, and they were our hardest matchup by far. So, not what we would have wanted, but as is the case with all 40k, sometimes you just don't get the biscuit, and that's fine. The event was amazing. I have missed, since leaving the military, showing up and spending half of my time when I arrive at the tournament getting my spine crushed from hugs and banter and talking shit and everything else. So it was really, really a fantastic event. Now, it may be its own video, but the Teams format, for anybody who hasn't played it before, is the major 40k format. You would have seen the WTC is the World Teams Championship. This is the format that they use, and it is quite literally the best way to play 40k. I'll never forget when I was first starting out, and Josh McMillan, who was the coach of the World's team, for Australia, that is, say to me, Teams is the absolute, like, it is the way to play 40k. Don't get me wrong, singles events are great, but I've always been a team-oriented person. I played rugby union, rugby league. Military is obviously a very heavy team environment. And this one, just getting to be with 4 other people that you really enjoy hanging out with, and, you know, going through this process of pairing up and trying to help each other out, giving each other advice on particular matchups, all that sort of stuff. It's just, it's so amazing. So if you haven't played Teams before, get involved with your local community. Go and try and find a team in a Teams Championship which is coming up, or even not even a championship, just like you can have teams-based RTTs where, you know, it's a free-for-all for everybody, and just get to know the process, get involved in it. And it means that you can take lists like this that I'm about to unveil, because this, and this is the major caveat for the video, this is not a singles list. Do not take this to a tournament unless you are so confident that you will be going up against Sisters and Eldari and Imperial Guard and whatever else. This list is designed for one thing and one thing only.
I'm gonna f you up.
That's to fist some sisters. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay, everyone, so welcome to the list. This is a Farsight Enclaves list. First and foremost, if you guys enjoy this sort of content, make sure that you leave a like, leave a comment, let me know that you actually enjoy it. So much of what has driven me on to do this has been comments from everybody. I've tried to be as active as I can in my comment section, just to make sure that people are getting the information that they need. If you want more list unveilings and reviews like this, then by all means, let me know. And don't forget to stick around to the end of the video for a message from our sponsor, Irresistible Force. All right, so let's get into it. We have 4 commanders in this list. Farsight Enclaves are able to take 2 commanders per detachment. We have 3 Cold Stars and an Enforcer. So, the Enforcer, let's start with him. The predominant buff that he gives out is Obsec to the Crisis units. Double Missile Pod, Double Plasma, Pure Tide Engram Neurochip. He is our CP regen. Roll a dice whenever you use a specific stratagem from 2 of the categories of stratagems, and get a CP back. Very, very necessary within this list, because as you'll see at the top, we started 0. No CP listed whatsoever, because we spent it all on Warlord traits and relics. The first Cold Star off the list, Exemplar of the Cao Yun, absolutely necessary. Being able to redeploy is bad luck protection, bad play protection, and really allows us to play an adaptive style where if we go first, we can just mod car and explode up the board. Sometimes we can still do that even if we go second, depending on the matchup. Or it allows us, if we then have to pull back and go Cao Yun, if we've deployed our Devilfish on the line, getting ready to explode out, and then it's not looking like exploding out turn 1 or 2 is a good idea, we are going to pull back and just redeploy 3 units because we've taken Cao Yun rather than mod car. Incredibly versatile, even in a list that's not like this. It is an auto take for me in every single list. Then he's got the Advanced Burst Cannon, which is the prototype system that ignores wound caps and feel no pains. And then he's also got a high output burst cannon and 2 missile pods complementing that. So Cold Star, obviously, each of these have a target lock built in, so there's no cover saves against them or light cover, and they've got the once per game pick up and redeploy wherever they like. We've then got 3 Breacher teams. This is the first, nothing really special to say about them that stands out. You can see they've got a close range and a long range profile. Close range, 8 inches, 2 shots each, so it's 20 shots per team. Strength 6, AP2, damage 1. The longer range one, you just lose 1 point of strength and -1 AP, which sometimes isn't exactly a problem, but most of the time I was trying to get my guys into close range. Predominantly because if you're in that close range, the Farsight Enclaves trait turns on where you count as a Markalite, so all of your boys are hitting on 3s. If you spend the CP to make a Devilfish give a reroll 1s aura, it means they're hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, which is a very good success rate in the hit phase. Then we've got 2 Sunshark Bombers. These are incredible. They go into every list that I've got. They give us backline access. They have incredible shooting, mortal wound output on vehicles and monsters and, you know, high model count units. Even into the 1000 Suns player that I beat, this was picking up 2 Terminators per bomber a turn. So 4 Terminators dead just from the bombs alone, and then shooting on top of it. It is really, really great. One tip for everybody that I didn't realize until I was putting them together. I'll put in another bomber. Notice how it starts off as 1 missile pod. For no reason. I put on a second one. It doesn't cost me anything extra. For no reason. And this is Battlescribe doing it in a way that Games Workshop intended. So make sure when you're building your list, you hit that extra thing for the missile pod. Don't cost yourself 2 strength 7 AP2 damage 2 shots. It is just, it is quite literally leaving money on the table. We've then got the 2 Devilfish, nothing special about them. Don't forget that you've got 4 Pulse Carbine shots as well as the Accelerated Burst Cannon. The Pulse Carbines are 2 shots apiece. So you've got 8 shots of that and then 8 shots with the Accelerated Burst Cannons. Devilfish still do put out a decent amount of incidental fire. Now, our final 2 Cold Stars, we have the Farsight Enclaves Warlord trait specific, which is that all of his shooting ignores wound caps and feel no pains. He's got a burst cannon, high output burst cannon, double missile pod. He is really, really great because the second part of the Warlord trait for Farsight is that on a wound roll of 6, you get an additional AP3. It is just like, and you look at high output burst cannons, whatever, a high output burst cannon having AP4 is just ridiculous. Where are we? There it is. Improve the AP characteristic of that attack by 3. So a -1 burst cannon becomes -4. The normal burst cannon, not the high output, which starts at AP0, is now AP3, which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Then we've got the Precision of the Hunter Cold Star. This is our reroll hits and wounds. Double burst cannon, high output burst cannon, thermoneutronic projector. Now, the thermoneutronic, for people that don't know, and this apparently isn't really that widely known among the 40k community, because it comes up at tournaments all the time, the thermoneutronic is one of the only flamers I know of that doesn't automatically hit, which means if you're in Cao Yun, those hits can explode. And if you're Precision of the Hunter, you re-roll to fish for those hits, because he hits on 2s anyway. That is an amazing piece of kit. The thermoneutronic is actually a monster. It's only strength 4, but again, re-rolls to wound, even if you're wounding on 5s, is still a good completion rate. And then it's AP2 damage 2, which is fantastic. 2 more Breacher teams, 2 units of Crisis, one of them bodyguards, one of them basic bitch. Burst Cannon, Double Flamer, Target Lock, and then the other guy's got Early Warning Override, Iridium Battlesuit, Shield Generator, and Stim Injectors. That is basically your first line of please don't die. Make sure you split up your dice, so the 2 with target locks, ignore that if it's relevant. Then the 2 with bodyguard, double missile pod plasma rifle, it just means that you've got some 30-inch shooting with high AP, high damage. Generally, the plan with these guys will be to put them out, shoot you 30 inches, and then fire and fade over the wall, and then have your characters around them completely character protected. These guys will likely start in Deep Strike. I will say for my particular event, these guys, I actually dropped the bodyguards, and I created a 5-man crisis team with double plasma missile pod. It did put in work, but I found that in my normal list, there's a method of list building where you can go wide or you can go vertical. Mine is vertical for the crisis specifically. The rest of the list is wide and picks that up, but I've got a lot of buffs that I can stack on them. Chapter Master rerolls, auto winning 6s, all that sort of stuff. Without that, the crisis team wasn't as effective, but they were still fantastic for picking up Terminator models, for trying to kill Harpies in the NIDS matchup when I got bust. That's thrown under the bus for anybody who's not familiar with teams. And I did have to sacrifice some defensiveness, but I just used fire and fade to supplement that. But it just goes to show that any list, when you look at it, make sure that if there is something that you prefer for your particular playstyle, make it your own. Next 2 units, Crit Hounds, and then the last Devilfish. Now, that is the list itself, and I know that I belt-fed that out quite quickly. This isn't designed as a pick up and go for somebody who's just starting the army. This is for somebody who's wanting to get into a tournament environment or make a list which can, you know, maybe go into a singles tournament where you know that there is a lot of Eldari and sisters and that sort of stuff, and you can bully the hell out of them. So I'm assuming that you already know your rules. Pop a comment down if you need anything clarified. And I'll say this, and this isn't intended to be a shitty comment or anything. Make sure that you're reading the codex and the core rules and everything else. So much can be answered by looking at those. And it'll also improve your knowledge by going through, and if an opponent's like, hey, can you show me where you're getting this rule? You know exactly where to go to, and it doesn't take time out of your game, and it stops you from basically clocking out because you're having to show your opponent incidental rules. So now that I've done that, let's get into how to, like, what the intent is with this, how to play this army. And the thing that I'm going to go through is the primary thing is the alpha strike potential, because that is what this list does, and it epitomizes the way that we have played basically all through 9th. That we don't have trading units, we're not supposed to sit on a point for ages and ages and bounce fire off us and everything else. We win games because our opponent just gets whittled away, and then they don't have anything to stand out in the open. And then we just win because what are they going to do? Be dead at us? So what does this want to do? We have 3 cold stars which can pick up and go at any point in the game. So if they don't screen well, or even if they don't, you can have bombers actually bomb out an area for your cold stars to move into. It's a very similar thing that like Grey Knights and Thousand Suns do, where they can smite open an area and then teleport something in. And then you've got Sun Sharks, which have backline access. You've got the Breacher teams in the Devilfish, and I'll break this down. If you're in Montcar and the Devilfish start on the line, they pre-game move 7 inches. Then they move base 12 inches. You can't advance and combat debark them, so don't try and do that. That was FAQ'd. You only counter stationary in the shooting phase, not until the end of the movement phase. Then the breaches essentially jump out 9 inches because 3 inches from the transport and then 6 inches normal move. That means you have had an aggregate 27 inches of movement. A lot of the time, that's half the board. If you're riding the deployment line, a lot of deployments are basically halfway up the board at certain points. So you can be in your opponent's backfield, and I did this a number of times, where they had their primary castle at the back around a big obscuring ruin that was completely blacked out, and I just had 60 shots looking at it. And then the bombers over the top with an additional whatever. And then 3 cold stars pick up and come over the back, and my entire army is just like, hello! And then the game goes the way that you think it would. Now, this is not good into AOC. Sisters being the exception. Marines, against weaker chapters, you probably can get away with it if you know your lethality, but like Terminator units, anything which is decently tanky, this will struggle in, and this is why this is not a singles list. This is a teams list where you can sort of guarantee your matchups and your pairings. So you want to fly your bombers over, do your bombing, start your marker light action, shoot as much as you can, and literally just, if you play this well, you can pick up like 1,200 points of an opponent's army, like first turn, very easily. And that's what this list is designed to do. You want to be getting in your opponent's face, you want to be getting aggressive, unless, as I was bussed into Leviathan Nids in the last round of day 1 of the New South Wales Teams Championship, then I had to play a Cao Yun game. I had to play late game. Now that game went poorly either way, because this list is just not designed to go into them. But if you're going Cao Yun, you're not as hyper aggressive. And as always, if you guys have any questions about this list, then leave it in the comments. I'll try and be as active as I can. And I really, really hope that you guys get a chance to join a team's environment. You're in a Sisters or Eldari heavy meta. You get to roll this out and have some fun and bully some people. It really is, when the list comes together and it gets into a matchup that it enjoys, it is oppressive. Nothing short of oppressive. And so everybody, that is the list review. If you guys made it this far, you are amazing. And I'm very, very excited for you to hear a short word about our sponsor, Irresistible Force. Irresistible Force are a local gaming shop out of Logan in Queensland, Australia. They are an incredible store which specializes in 40k, D&D, everything tabletop. You will literally not find anywhere else in Australia that has a larger range of Games Workshop products, among other things. Also the training ground for some of the Australian players that were on the Australian WTC Championship team. And for anyone outside of Australia, don't you worry, because Irresistible Force are amazing. They ship worldwide. As many of you know, local gaming stores are the lifeblood of our community. And supporting them quite literally keeps open some of the places that are such fantastic havens for people to go and express themselves and enjoy the tabletop games that they love. Speaking of, Irresistible Force has a multitude of gaming tables for people to go in and enjoy themselves. So if you're in Queensland, if you're traveling through there, if you're anywhere near Logan whatsoever, head on in, say hello to some of the friendly staff and get yourself a table and play with some friends or pick up some new friends. Local gaming stores are one of the best things that we can keep alive, and Irresistible Force, through their sponsorship with me and through your support, can remain as that. Okay, and with that, our video is done. We are getting very, very close to the Patreon launch. I'm really, really excited to be able to unveil this and create a community of people that are excited about Tau and D&D and everything else, and that I can simultaneously help people with their lists, help people with their play, and build my studio and start putting out some of the content that I've got planned. As mentioned in the last video, I have Way of the Weave Monk and Sunkeeper Paladin are both done. And they are almost ready for the launch of this. As well as that, we will be having giveaways of 2 premium 12-month memberships to Irresistible Force, which we'll be doing as part of the Patreon launch. Make sure that you're subbed, make sure you've got notifications on, make sure that you are there and ready for that, because there is going to be a lot that we are going to be giving away to our patrons and viewers and all the people that are there and helping me to build this studio and really create something that I and hopefully the 40k community can be proud of. So thank you very much for being here. Really hope you guys enjoyed the list review. If you did and you want more stuff like this, give me a comment down below. As you would have noticed from all of my videos, I want to give you guys actionable information that really helps you win more games. I want to make sure that when you come here, you are coming here because you want to play better, you want to DM better, you want to win more games, you want to play in tournaments, you want to, whatever the case may be. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.